What's up, everybody? Hopefully, everybody's able to chime in today. Thank you guys for showing up and being here on Secret of the Unknown, episode 69. Wow, it's good stuff. Glad everybody can make it. Glad everybody's here. But as always, you know how we do it. We got to start the show off right and get this thing going the way we always do. All right, let's get this going. Hold on. Go cancellation, noise cancellation, yada, yada, yada. All right. I am going. Let's see if I can get this going right, because we were having some issues the last time. What the heck? This guy. Oh, man. All right. Let me see if I can get this thing going. And I want to try and get it so I can get the conversation. There it is. That's better. More like it. Let's see. Yeah, that'll work. All right. Let's try and get this thing going. But anyway, welcome to episode 69 of Secret of the Unknown. We're going to get this thing going the way we always do it. So, yeah, hold on to your pants. All right, cool. So, episode 69, here we go. Today, what I wanted to get into and what I wanted to talk about was it's kind of a controversial subject. And I just want to say to everybody that's out there that might be watching, I say this at every episode, and anybody that has watched the podcast, is that there's a lot of things that I'm going to talk about, or I have talked about, or things that I do talk about on the podcast that are not for people under the age of 18. So if you guys got your parents' permission to watch, as long as your parents say it's cool, that's on them. But as I said before, and I've said it for the going on the 3 years that I've done this, there's a lot of things. Hey, what's going on, Fred? There's a lot of things that I talk about that are going to be very controversial, and I might say things. Yeah. So, parental discretion advised. Putting that out there right now. All right. So, episode 69, what we're going to be talking about is a lot of this religious theory or dogma that people have adapted. And it seems like, for me, growing up in a household of pastors, I grew up in a Catholic, I was baptized Catholic, and I was raised in a Christian home. But for me, being somebody who has always been a person to not just take things at face value, ever since I was a child, I always questioned everything. And I mean, I'm talking everything biblically. I always question, why was it that, at the beginning of the story, when Adam and Eve were together, um, you know, they were kicked out of the garden and they were given the hardships because they went against, quote unquote, what God said on the terms of, uh, not being able to stay in the garden. And when their son, was the big thing to me growing up, is I always asked, why is it that when Cain was kicked out after killing Abel, and he went into the land of, I believe it was Nod, and he found a wife and he married her. Yeah, I do. You know what? As a matter of fact, a good thing you just said that. Let me, because what I'll do is I will post it on here. You guys should be able to click on it. And if it doesn't work, let me know. I'll go on Facebook, and I will put it on there. Yeah, let's do it this way. So let me know if it works. If it doesn't, I will go directly onto YouTube and I will go directly onto Facebook and I will put it on there. And you guys can go ahead and try and let me know and see if it works. If you guys have problems trying to get on, again, let me know. All right. So again, my thing is that I wanted to have a discussion of why it is that people of a religious background will take what they know to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and will disregard anything as far as historical fact or the narratives of other cultures or the narratives that have come before predating that predated Christianity or any other religion for that matter. As far as for me, again, like I said, we know that there were pre-Adamites. We know that there were people that were on this earth that were here living pre-Adam and Eve. So if the quote unquote God of the Bible created Adam and Eve, who created these other people? And if they were created not in God's image, but Adam and Eve were, then who made these other people? Not only that, but the creation story in and of itself is a lot older than the Bible gives us, because that story we know was adapted by Christianity from ancient Sumerian, ancient nomadic cultures that go back at least 6,000 years pre-times of these narratives that were given by quote unquote the Christians or the Jewish faith. And then again, this is such a broad understanding, not just in one little thing, in one little area of the creation, but you have pretty much the beginning of the whole Old Testament that seems to be adapted from ancient cultures, ancient Sumerian cultures, talking about the creators who created us in our own image. And anybody who looks into translations of wording and the understanding that the texts that we see today are not original texts. These are things that were passed down, and it came from the culmination of the man, I'm so brain dead right now. Like, I'm tired. I've been working all week and I jumped into this, but I was going over a lot of stuff because I have a lot of things that I wanted to talk about. But you have the Council of Nicaea, where the canonized book that everybody has thrown themselves into was formatted and created, um, and it is what we know of after the King James version was also adapted and revised again to the understanding of what we know now. So that's another thing. Another thing is, like I said, I wanted to talk about is why is it that people of a faith will always demonize and will always tell those who question anything regarding their religion based on the factual narratives of historical information, and say if you question the validity of something, let's say the validity of uh, the narrative of Yahshua to being the literal Son of God sent here in the flesh to save humankind or mankind from their sins. And they will say, if you question this, if you question anything, that you basically are, it's an influence by the devil. It's an influence by Satan himself to discredit everything that they understand or that they know, and that you're on a path of the devil. Trust me, I know. I get this all the time, and I hear it even especially from people who were not Christians when I was growing up and are now Christians now, and they are 100%, um, you know, I won't call them what we used to call them back in the day, holy rollers, but they want to say that they know without a shadow of a doubt that this is fact. But to know something without a shadow of a doubt that what you know is fact, you have to have solid, concrete, there's no refuting evidence against it, because what you know is the fact. Now, we know we can tear this thing apart and we can break it apart because, again, the creation story in and of itself, and we know that these ancient stories were adapted by these people who were married into the cultures of these nomadic and these Canaanite and these pagan cultures, because these stories came from them and these people who were in the early culture of Israel that we know of today, the Israelites, the people like Abraham and Moses. You're done? Okay, hold on. We know that it was adapted by them and they were worshiping these deities way before we knew of what they thought they were. And again, this is something else that will go into another whole section. And I touched on this about 2 or 3 episodes before, about what if the Bible is used to manipulate people into thinking that they are worshiping a God, the one true God, creator, whatever you want to say. But what if it is in fact a deception to lead people away from the truth that Yahshua brought to the masses, saying these people that you are sitting here telling everybody that you are the children of God are actually not. You have nothing to do with us. Because we even see in the time when he went into the church and he was telling them when he came to Jerusalem, when he knew they were going to persecute him and they were going to kill him, and he literally told the Sadducees and Pharisees that you are the synagogue of Satan. You sit here and you hoard all of this knowledge and this information, and you build your righteousness up, and when you shut all these people out, and you don't allow them to gain this knowledge and this information, and you sit there and you hoard it for yourself. And he told them basically, this is what I've come to separate you from. This is what I've come to break you away from. I've come to show you the true nature of who you are, what you are, where you come from, and what you are meant to be. Because this old stuff is not it. It's a deception. He literally told them, we are in this world, but we are not of it. You hear what I'm saying, and you see what I've done, and yet you still don't believe me. You don't understand. You hear me, but you're not listening. You see me, but you're not seeing. You're witnessing, but you still doubt what I'm telling you. And this is where I'm talking about the deception, the deceiving that has gone into these people who have been in control since this time. Because you got to remember something. People are literally worshiping the very deities, and the people who were worshiping these deities, these people were the very ones who killed Christ, who killed Yahshua. They were his own people. Even to this day, the Israelites, the Israeli nation, does not see Yahshua as the Son of God. That should scare people. That should make people understand something. Simply that statement and that fact of itself is because the very institution that initiated and pushes this, and the very thing that you go into and you read and you look into, are the very same people who crucified and tried to kill this man. Now, again, do I believe in the notion of the whole death and resurrection? No, I don't. Why? Because you have so many other deities who came before him and were born of virgins, were followed by 12 apostles, and were given this statue of validity as being a holy divine entity to come and save humanity from the things that were going on around us at the time. And I would like to see what other people's thoughts and input is on this subject. And again, I've said this since I started the show. I'm not telling anybody that this is my fact, this is my truth, and if you don't believe me, then you're wrong. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm doing is presenting what my understanding, what I have looked into, what I've researched, and I'd like to have other people's opinion on it. Yes, we can talk, we can debate it, but in a lot of things that you see, people cannot talk and they can't debate. They want to argue, yell, and put other people down and say, well, you know, you're just stupid, or, you know, you're dumb, or, you know, again, like I said, you're just, you know, you're the devil. And again, I want to say this, is that I grew up in a religious home. I grew up reading the Bible, and my understanding and my knowledge and understanding of what I perceive things, because I don't see it the way these people who sit in a church spewing all this stuff and regurgitating everything and blowing it into this thing of, if you don't do what we tell you, you're going to burn in hell. And if you do what we ask you to do, then you're going to go to heaven. I don't believe that. I believe that the message that Yahshua brought was distorted, manipulated, and deceiving everybody to the point to where we have lost the true nature and the true meaning of what he had told us to break away from. The very thing that he was trying to break people away from is what people are doing today. It is what people are literally following. Because the institutions and the logic and the mindset and the understanding is the very deception that he came here to break people away from. To say that what they are doing is wrong. They're going to come and tell you that they are my children. They're going to tell you that they are the children of my Father. They're going to tell you that their way is the only way, and it is not. The covenant that we had given to Moses and to Abraham is not the same covenant. I came here to give you the new covenant. That is what I am doing, is I am giving you the message and the understanding to tell you that the kingdom of heaven is within you. It's not outside of you. That you are all children of God. Because when they came and they were telling him that he was speaking and he was talking about him being the one, the Messiah, and he was asking them, you said this, I didn't say this. And it would not have been told to you, or you would not have known this if it was not given to you in your mind by my Father. Because those who were able to see and understand and were aware of what he was doing got the message. Which is why you see so much of the things of depictions in movies and the understanding that he would tell people, you see this, you hear my words, you see what I'm telling you, you see what I'm doing, and you hear what I'm telling you. And many of you will not believe me. You will not even, you're not even going to pick up what I'm putting down. But imagine how harder it is going to be for the people that come later to believe what I am telling you. They have not seen it. They have not witnessed it. And yet they will believe. Imagine how harder it is going to be for them that come after you. That is the hard thing. And for me, growing up, like I said, I question everything because I believe in reincarnation. I don't believe that this was my first life. I believe that I've gone this route plenty of times, but I'm carnally aware of my previous one. And I've talked about this in the show before, where I've given that evidence and talked about that. And to me, even in the Bible, when you see them talking about reincarnation, because yes, it is brought up, yes, it is mentioned, it is actually asked of the apostles. When they even asked Jesus, he asked them, who do you think I am? Who do they say that I am? And they said, well, some people believe that you are Elijah. Come back. Some people believe that you are Moses. So the thought of them, how could they believe that he was somebody if they believed that somebody was dead and couldn't come back? But they believed in that a person could be somebody else incarnate because of the things that he was doing. Just like John the Baptist, when John the Baptist came, what was his mission? His mission was to pave the way for the messenger, the Messiah, the one who was going to free the people mentally, spiritually, and give them that path of understanding. He taught it all the way up until Jesus came around. Yahshua came around. Hey, what's up, Fred? How's it going, man?
Hey, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you being here, dude.
Yeah, so I was listening to where you were talking about religion, and well, religion as we know them are all from pagan cults, all mixed up together, and they made three principal religions, and they all come from the same place, and you can see the connection together through the symbolism and the way they dress and the structures of their temples and things like that. So you can go far back, to undisclose all the story of religion as such.
Right. And that was another thing I was going to go into is that the pre-singular God concept was, let's just say in Christianity, Yahweh. Yahweh was one of many gods that they worshipped before it was a singular. We're just going to worship this God. They worshipped many other gods.
Well,
And I think
they're still worshiping all the same God, actually.
the singular, right?
Yeah, most of them are Luciferians. So they're the the cult of the Black Sun. I mean,
Love it, dude.
it goes back to Egypt and things like that. So it's really old. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like I tell everybody is, when you look into this and you dive into this, what is your thought on the whole thing of what we see now of, and I'm just going to throw this out there, of what we are seeing today in mainstream culture, the worshiping of Baal and Marduk, and this whole thing with the child sacrifice, not just with the singular thing of the Epstein, but with these entities that are running these cults, these Luciferian cults. This is not something that is new. It is something that has been happening. And like I said, a lot of people don't know, but even now archaeologists are looking in Jerusalem and finding these mass graves of these thousands of children that were being sacrificed during the time pre-monotheistic, before they, went and just started worshiping one God. They were doing these things way back when.
Oh, sure. Yeah, and actually, I consider a lot of things as religions, not only theocratic tyrannies and belief. I try to stay neutral in this aspect and look at what their deeds are, and this is what you were talking about, actually. The sacrifices and the mind control and all these things that are still used and still very effective in a world of distraction and deceptions. I mean,
Oh, for sure.
most of the like just the word history is when you cut it in half, it's his story. So
Right.
it's very telling to we have to be really objective, and belief is not enough in this case. Belief for me is your personal experience.
Right.
These are your perceptions, and when it comes to God and all these things, I think this is a really intimate interpretation of what is, and I tend to explain the all with natural law and things like that. So this is my thing there. Why do I use natural law? Is because of the overarching principles that build this world and
Right.
what we're standing in, and
Now, now how you're saying the belief and how people will, again, I don't want people to think that I am bashing anybody's faith, because God knows I like I said, I grew up in a religious household, and there were things that really touched me. My intimacy with the God that I knew of at that time, of how I perceived it because of what I was being told. I had a really close relationship because that was what I knew. But as I got older, my mindset broadened and I started questioning things. Okay, what is going on here? Because it just didn't seem right to me. So I started looking. Okay, if you're going to tell me that you're worshiping, Yahweh, or you're worshiping Yahshua because of him being the divine deity who was sent here to save humanity. But yet, when I started looking into things and I started finding out this Christ mystery theory, that there were many other deities who came before him. And I'm not talking about just hundreds. There were thousands who were born of a virgin, were followed by 12 disciples, who were ridiculed and crucified, who died or rose in 3 days after, and were proclaiming that the kingdom, or the how do you want to say it? But again, like I said, there were other things that were adapted from these ancient traditions, these ancient cultures. And like you said again, Egypt was a big thing. And from looking at it from the perspective of the mysticism side, what is your thought on the lost times of Joshua's period from when he was 9 until he came back into the picture 18 years later? From what I looked into, a lot of the things that he was doing and he was saying, especially when you look into things like Egyptian mysticism, the initiation into the mysticism, their main thing was the whole 40 days in the wilderness to have the initiates do exactly what he was doing in order to gain that access into that. Have you heard anything about that, or have you looked into
No,
anything?
seriously, I'm totally new to that. I had a few discussion about with one of my good friend, a Christian friend, about the Bible. So I had a little I have a little bit of knowledge about that.
Okay.
Not much. I tend to discuss about Abrahamic religions and things
Okay.
like that. And the perversion of what occult knowledge was. And when we're talking about the old times, I think we have a good idea of what is happening when spirituality becomes a cult like and
Right.
religion. And I think this is where we're mixing it up. It's becoming confusing, and
Yeah.
we're most of the time when we're looking in that, we're always in contradiction with other research and things like that. So what I was talking earlier is perception and interpretation of these knowledge. Is it as relevant as it should be? I don't think so. I think this world has moved on, and these cults and these religions have changed. Their faces have changed, and it's religions now are very powerful,
Oh yeah.
and it's they're not gone. They're not losing power at all,
No.
because their power resides in influence, and this
Yeah.
is where these cults, these religions, these creeds are
Right.
vampirizing from people their attention and
Yeah.
their precious energy.
And do you see, like, what you're talking about, how these religions are literally getting that deception key to get the manipulation of people in
Yeah.
order to give these deities power? Could it be something that they're using to draw people in and having their worship give these cult like deities power
I
through
mean,
their narratives?
um, I think Greek mythologies and these like that represent these god and deities represent aspects of humans, actions and principles and laws and things like that. There were thousands
Oh
of
yeah.
deities and little gods here and there. So essentially, what they're trying to do is to show us by image how the mind is and this representation. And when we're talking about we were talking about the Bible and things like that. So when it comes to my interpretation of this story, I think it's a good way to learn how to behave into society. Jesus was a good example of that. It
Right.
wasn't perfect, but his deeds, as described in the Bible, are
Right.
representing a authentic human. You know, selfless and fighting for the good cause, because Jesus led the revolution of the Jewish people at this time. So
Yeah.
he told his disciples to sell their clothes and everything they had to buy a
Right.
sword. Yeah,
Right.
so he was fighting against banks, religions, tyranny, and government that was the Roman at this time. So
Yeah.
I mean, you can take it as you want. You know, it is maybe metaphorical in nature. Maybe it's true. I don't know about it. But
But it's
what I can say to you, it's
yeah.
the perception of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. And the big thing for me is, again, which is really interesting to see that we can take what was interpreted, like you said, by his deeds and his actions and what he was saying. I mean, literally telling people, like you said, when he was talking to them and he was asking, when the rich merchant came and he was asking him, Master, what is it that I need to do to get into heaven? And he told him, you need to give up all that you have and follow me. And he told him, well, my father's he worked his whole life for all of these things for me to get to where I'm at. You just want me to give it away? Couldn't I use this for the benefit of the church to help this movement? And he told him, no, you need to get rid of all of that stuff. Follow me and get rid of all of your earthly ties to what is binding you mentally to this world,
Yeah.
and spiritually giving up things that, like he said, we are in this world, but we are not of it. And that in and of itself is the blinders that a lot of people who are trying to reach that spiritual elevation, not only in just your deeds. It's good to go out and do things that are good. It's good to go out and live a good life and to be a great example. But if the words without actions, I can tell you, hey, I love you. I hope that you have you do. If you need something, let me know. But the words without actions and the deeds that are not being followed through with the actions, like you were saying,
Yes.
is the big key. And
Yeah.
for, another thing, like, I think there was a book that was called The Secret Teachings of Jesus that I read. Let me see if I could pull it up real quick. And it was really eye opening to me, because it goes into the misinterpretations of what we think we, know of, because of what we've been told in church, or what we've been grown up into believing um, as we grow up. Um,
Well, those are doctrines,
okay,
actually.
yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, you can repeat a lie 1,000 times and it become a truth, brother.
yeah, yeah, and I
Yeah.
think that's where, like you were saying, the whole deception, that it has grown in power, that this deception to keep the manipulation over people, to where they're putting him up there as this, you know, this deity, and they're using his image and his so-called words to get these people to follow. But it's like he said, you're hearing what I'm saying, but you're not hearing it. You're seeing what I'm doing, but you're not seeing it. And then, like the apostles, when they would ask him, Master, why won't you just tell us what you're trying to tell us? Stop speaking in riddles. And he literally told them, if I tell you this stuff, you won't even understand. You won't conceive what I'm telling you. You're still not going to understand it. So it's better for me to teach you in riddles than to give you the truth straight out. And I think that's where we are now, is that we see a lot of these religions that are telling people things, but they're using his image and his words to manipulate the masses. And it's really drawing us further away from what the intent and the meaning and the path that he came to show us. And that for me, now this is, like I said, a personal thing. That's where my path is. I'm looking for that path. Like, what was his message? What was he telling us? What was the true meaning and the nature of his words to tell us that, we are all, God is within each and every one of us, that the kingdom of heaven is within us. It's not outside of us. If the kingdom of heaven was in the air, then the birds would precede it. If the kingdom of heaven was in the ocean, then the fish would precede you. You know, he was literally telling us that what we are is within, everything that we're searching for is here. It's within us. And now we see the nature of religion telling everybody, you've got to look outside of yourself for this power and this influence and
Yeah.
this message, that if you don't go through these steps that we're telling you to do it, then you're not going to be able to reach that. When he came and he told us, no, everything is here within you. You don't need to look outside of yourself. You just need to remember. You need to wake up and understand who you are, and what you're capable of doing. Because in his own words, he literally told everybody, the same things that you see me do, you can do, and you can even do things that are greater than I. That's powerful to me. That should really wake people up and understand that what he was saying is that you don't have to sit here and wait for me to give you the influence to do it. It's there now. You just need to wake up and understand. It's kind of like the parable of him walking on the water in the storm. And he told Thomas, come out, come here. You can do this. Walk with me. Come to me. He gets out of the boat and he walks and he looks down and he sees with his mental, physical eyes what's happening, and he starts sinking. And I think that to me is really powerful, because that is the perception that we see today, is that people are asking for help. They're wanting to be saved. They're wanting for this outside influence to save them, and that's what they're waiting for. But it's not that. It's literally us saving ourselves through the grace and the understanding that he gave us to give us that pathway to that salvation, that it lies within us. But yeah, I think that whole, like you said, that whole thing of, the believing, and it's a personal relationship, how people deal with things and how they perceive it. And again, like I said, I don't want people to misinterpret this as me telling people that they're wrong, because everybody goes through things that something, I don't care if it's traumatic, something scary happens to them, something alters them to where they get a come to God moment. Because I know I've been there, and it's just, I would like people to understand that once you start shutting people off, and you start shutting things off where you say, I don't want to look further into that this is all there is, and anything outside of it is wrong, that it's evil, that it has no place for me to know, because the whole thing of knowledge is gnosis. It's knowing, it's having that information. And the more information and the more knowledge you have, the more better of a perception that you will be able to have on the wider scope and the picture of everything. And, I'm glad that you came on, man, because you're touching on things and you're sharing things, and it's spot on.
Yeah, and let me tell you, brother, I can talk about this, all the evening. But there's something I want to bring up, if you have folks there who are into religion, is this salvationism aspect of it, that I it doesn't fit with me at all.
Yeah.
I'm not for abandoning myself to something that is written into a book, and my interpretation. I mean, this is what you were talking about was ignorance, and ignorance is in every aspect of society, and it's
Right.
even worse into religions and cults and creeds. So you have a bunch of people who are creating echo chambers, and these echo chambers are growing, and the people are becoming more polarized into what they're believing.
Right.
And belief is a weapon.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to say is, most of the time these people think that you don't have to do anything because God already decided and will take everything in his hand, and we don't have to do nothing. So that's a big problem there.
Yeah.
Don't take any action, wait for something that's happening, a savior or a politician or something like that that will reflect the actual culture of somewhere. So you have a this is a powder in the eyes kind of things there. If I sorry for my French there, I try to get my expression right, but it's all smoke and mirror
Yeah.
actually. So what they want to do with that, it's to take you away from yourself, and you
Yeah.
have to abandon yourself to something that is greater than you, but you don't really understand, even though you have conversation about it. You read the Bible, you read the Talmud and all these things, but they're all essentially, jerking off on their own ego and
Yeah.
and power trip.
Blindly following
And
these people because they're saying, this is what you have to do and this is the truth. And people are like, oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. And they
yeah,
regurgitate the same thing that these people are saying, and they don't want to hear anything else if it doesn't line up with what they believe to be quote unquote the actual facts.
I don't think this religion was meant as it is what it is today.
Oh
I think it's a dark age demise or and machination for the time, but now it's becoming worse because there's more religions, and people don't think about money as a religion or government as a religion.
yeah,
Okay, but they're the same. They're
they're
the
just
same.
yep,
The people. Why does government exist and slavery? It's because people believe in government.
yeah,
There's no, when you look at it objectively, in nature, government doesn't exist in nature. It
right,
doesn't exist. Religion doesn't exist in nature.
yep,
Money doesn't exist in nature.
yeah,
So you have nature and you, and nature is visible spirit, and spirit is invisible nature.
yep. Yep, and I think there was a funny thing that somebody said that we are the only things that will go around and have to pay for something in order to
Yeah,
get something.
yeah.
When actuality, nature provides everything that we need, everything to sustain us mentally or physically and spiritually is already here. It's that concept, like you said, the smoke and mirrors that controls and actually sets the narrative that people blindly just go about doing these things because it's like you said, it's a cult, it's a religion. Like the money is the root of all evil. It's the power base that is used to control.
Ignorance would be for me. I think ignorance is the root of all evil.
Yeah, yeah,
Ignorance is why we have what we have now.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
totally agree with you, man.
it's.
Yeah.
I think. I have something to suggest to you and your viewers, if you don't mind.
No, go for it, man.
There's a little book called "The End of All Evil" by Jeremy Locke. This book needs to be read and understood. It's cheap, it's good, and it exists in French now. There's a French translation from it. There's a reprinting of it, so you can get it. I don't know how much it costs, but it's really cheap.
Okay. Yeah,
And
man.
this
Go let
book
me
is
oh,
fucking awesome.
let me look it up and I'll post it.
Sorry if I swear. I do
No,
not
you're good,
control
dude.
it.
I fucking cuss on it. That's why I said, I told everybody, like I've been doing this. This is my third year. And
Congratulations, man.
yeah, thank you, dude. And, I appreciate everybody that's, come along and supported me because when I started this, it was a thing that I was always into this stuff and I couldn't talk to anybody. I would talk to my friends at work and they were just like, dude, you're a fucking nut job. Like, don't talk about shit. You know what I mean? Like, just go to fucking work, do your job, and don't worry about anything else. Why do you care? And I was just like, because, dude, it's the questioning. why is this stuff like this? Why is this happening? Are we the only things in this universe? Is this the way things are supposed to be? And it's like, it's always just been a part of my soul and my spirit because, again, like I said, I know I was reincarnated because of my past life and the evidence that I have to support it. And that took me into this pathway again of wanting to understand things. Why are we being lied to? Why is it that people blindly just do these things and they don't question it? Which you see a lot of the people that are blindly going with this stuff are the ones who are the most loudest because they, standing on the street corners and, they're arguing about nonsense, like you said,
Yeah.
because it's the brainwashing, it's the control. When you have these people who are being called conspiracy theorists, or they're being called quacks, or they're being called nonconformists because they don't choose to adapt to the mainstream narrative and go along
Yeah.
with what everybody else is saying. And I just had, I talked to her. I was like, dude, I'm gonna start a podcast. So like, people that have this same type of mentality, we can talk and we can understand and share. And it's not the fact that like I said, is telling people this is the truth, because I'm not telling anybody that. I tell everybody the things that we discuss on here, look it up and research it for yourself, because
Sure.
that's how I got it. I can't take anybody else's word for it. I have to research it for myself and understand it, and talk to people that have the knowledge of these things and understand what they're talking about. Because again, going back into things like the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, and I've read those. Thoth talks about knowledge is the light. Light is in every one of us, and we either choose to illuminate it or we choose to darken it. But it's only darkened because we allow it to happen within ourselves, because
Yeah.
we don't spread it and we don't choose to gain that knowledge of understanding to illuminate who we are as light bringers to this world. So, having
Yeah.
people like yourself on and others that I've talked to on the podcast, man, it's really, really awesome because, again, we are basically planting those seeds of understanding and knowledge to the people that are listening, because they're hearing it and it might not sit, and it may sit with them, but regardless of what it is, it's the message is being put out there for everybody to hear. So I appreciate you for coming on, man, and I appreciate everybody that's been on.
Yeah. By the way, I'm gonna do a shameless plug if you don't mind.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm the host of the Libercast. Actually, this is a bilingual podcast, so I'm doing it in French and in English.
heck
So,
yeah.
yeah. So I'm in my 4th years on the Libercast. I have
Okay.
148 episodes of,
Nice.
bilingual content. I have presentations. I have a conference that I organize with 3 other French people, and I really want to put the information out. And
Yeah, man. You've
I,
got to
I
let me put it on the podcast, bro, and I'll share it with everybody.
this is this. I know French is, most Americans and most people cannot understand French, but essentially what I do is I do a French version of what I bring in English, and
Okay.
I put my own, a native language spice to it, because I'm kind of vitriolic when it comes to sharing common sense knowledge with seemingly grown adults.
Right.
Yeah, and when I'm talking about religions, I'm talking them as mind control devices. Doesn't mean that people that are in religions are all bad people. Some of them are doing great work, helping the poor,
Oh, yeah.
supporting and things like that. So there's a lot of good stuff there.
Heck yeah, man.
But I mean, this is an absolute uh, uh, um, mess,
Yeah.
because we're still in the dark age when it comes to evolution into humans. Maybe
Oh,
we have cell phones, maybe we have cars and planes, but we're still tribalist, and we have our old habits
yep.
of bringing religion in everything. And one of the things I wanted to bring is that now religion and politics are mixed up together almost
Yeah.
perfectly. So there's cognitive dissonance there, and
Yeah.
and moral relativism that come and mixed up with it. So it's very dangerous um, when these knowledge and understanding are weaponized.
Yep.
So yeah, this is a hardcore. This is a spiritual war,
Oh, for
actually. So this is what we're fighting against. We're fighting against um, um, ignorant and cowardly and borderline cretins and idiots. We are still stuck into this world because people refuse to learn from history, and we're coming back to history. There,
yeah.
we had countless genocides. We had revolution that led nowhere,
Yeah.
because revolution is the concept of revolution is broken. When you understand, we don't need revolution, because revolution is starting to a point, round up and coming back to the same point. We don't want that. We want
Yeah.
evolution.
Yep.
We don't want entropy. We want syntropy.
Yep. Yep.
And this is the worldview aspect. And now I'm thinking rhetorics from Mark Passio, but it's really simple to understand when you take your time and look into this knowledge and understand it. Understanding is really important, because this is where your behaviors will be affected by
Breaking.
it. So this is very important to, if you're into you're in a belief system and things like that, you need to stay rooted on the ground,
Yeah.
and look at things objectively. I think it's very important for everyone. And if people are getting better and they're enlightened through their religion, and they have a relationship with the hall, you know, I think
Yeah.
it's a good thing. Some people are doing great things, and they're not hurting anyone. They're not causing harm. So it's
Yeah.
good. This is the basic of everything. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, man, like I said, I appreciate you guys for being here, and I appreciate you coming on and sharing, because again, like I said, the insight and the knowledge and the understanding to be able to, like you said, break people away from, you know, that not learning from history and just repeating it
Yep.
goes really fundamentally into what we're, talking about, and why I wanted to bring this up in the podcast is because the deception of the masses by these entities that have been controlling everybody through this aspect of religious preference, and people just blindly going into it and going, this is it, you're wrong, I'm right. And it's like, well, how can you know that you're right if you refuse to look at the rest of the things that go into that to give you more knowledge and understanding? That doesn't make sense to me. Like, you can sit here and tell me I'm the devil, and that what I'm saying is from the devil and it's totally evil. You know that to be fact and true. But if I'm trying to give you better understanding and take you out of that, like you said, that loop, and give you a pathway that's going to lead you somewhere else, like so many of us are doing, yourself included, these people are the problem. They're not a part of the solution, a part of breaking it, like they're thinking that they're doing. And again, like you said, there are people that are doing good things. There are people that are out there trying to help humanity by breaking them out of that cycle. But
Yeah.
doing it, and they're doing it in a way where it's still in that loop. They may be doing things that are doing the right thing, but they're still in that box. And they're calling other people into, hey, jump into this box with us. And they're taking them out of that understanding and that pathway of gaining knowledge and telling them, if you don't do this, you're going to burn in hell if you don't come into this box with us.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah,
So
we're all good people, but if you don't follow us, you're gonna burn with suffering and pain forever into hell. It's crazy.
yeah,
I cannot wrap my head around that. Seriously, I'm super. I'm benevolent and things like that. They're telling all these beautiful things, and then from the other end, fucking slapping you with fear mongering, theocratic rhetorics and yeah, fear mongering is an important factor. Yeah, you have to sacrifice yourself. Give your soul to
yeah,
whatever deity that you believe in or you choose to believe.
yeah. And I seen a lot of people that were talking, and they were saying, if God needed to come and put himself in the flesh in order to save him, humanity, and he needed to die in order for people to be able to gain access into heaven, or to save people from creating evil deed or doing evil deeds to save them from this world, why would he allow the devil to be in mass? Why would a lot of these things be able to happen on earth? And it's funny because I had a conversation with somebody, because he's like, well, God gave people free will. And I was like, that's true. I allow my children to understand that right is wrong, right is right and wrong is wrong. I
Yeah,
give them the option, and they understand that if they do something wrong, they're going to be punished for it. But I'm not going to throw them into that mess and then say, if you do this, you know what's coming, and put that in there. It's like, putting your kid in there and telling him not to drink and then dropping them off at a party where they know that there's going to be booze and there's going to be other stuff that's going on, and then telling them, don't you do this, but you're giving them that access to it. And then if they do something wrong, then you're going to punish them and then beat the crap out of them because they did something that you told them not to do, but yet you put them in that situation, and you're telling them, well, it was your choice to not do it or do it. And
yeah. When it comes to children, brother, children are sacred.
oh,
I have 4 kids, man. I love them so much. I
right,
have the all respect for their sovereignty and their life as their own. I do not consider myself as owning my children. I'm a guide into their
right,
life. So when it comes to explaining them religions as such, I'm telling them the truth, and I'm
right,
telling them the hard truth. And this is what we should all do with everyone, even adults or other people, is
right.
just telling the truth how it is. And um we me and my wife, we're betting on consent when it comes to things.
Yeah,
My children are homeschooled. They never went to school. We're teaching them because we know perfectly how this system is
yeah,
destroying the kids and things
totally.
like that. And we really, really, really love our children. That's why we are taking our responsibilities as parents, is to inform them. So if I have questions about religions and things like that, like who's Jesus? So
Yep,
I'm telling them in a neutral, objective way who it is. It
yep,
is a seemingly historic or metaphorical figure into religions, but I tell them Jesus was the proto-human, the proto-empathic, selfless human.
yep,
He was there for giving his message, and his message is to take care of other. Love me like you love all the others,
yep,
as you will love the other people. So
yep,
this is what I'm telling to my children. It's the positive way. So they're gonna have the liberty and the freedom to look into it when they become adults. I'm not a religion person. I'm studying them a little bit, but more of the behavioral and cause and effect aspect of religions. This is
right,
why I'm telling people, when I'm talking about religions, there's good people and there's bad people. In everything, it's just like that. Spirituality, the spiritual movement, and the freedom movement are broken
Oh,
because
for sure.
they're tear they're teared up by religions and statheism and other uh, um, satanic
Yes.
aspect that we have to bring out, because this Satanism is not a religion, is an ideology, and this is what
Yeah.
people need to fucking understand. You know,
Yes.
these people don't believe that Satan is real. This
Right.
is the cult of the ego. We are better than God, and we're gonna take control and control everything. Who's dying, who's living,
Yep.
what you think, what you can say, and things like that. So this is the death of imagination. We are the solution. Who's the ruthless, the more ruthless, the more aggressive, the more violence that is gonna dominate. So
Oh yeah.
this world is what I did just describe there is the actual condition of this world. So
Yep.
most people are Satanist ideologically. The culture is like that.
Right.
We are trained into social Darwinism and mind
Yep.
control and things like that, repetition and propaganda. So we are trying, not me, not you, and not the people will listen to that, but there's clubs and creeds and religions that are controlling the culture aspect of it. So eugenism is cultural control.
Right.
You want to have qualities or you want to make flaws into people, you are building it into culture. And this is why we have so much garbage
Yeah.
into social media, into music, into Hollywood, the Hollywoodism.
Yep.
So people
It's the
are those are religions.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And it's like we were saying earlier, it's so broad, in the notion that people see things as well. It has to be separate. If you don't believe in this, then you're in that group, and these people that believe in this stuff is in that group,
Yeah,
and if your thought process doesn't align with what I'm doing, then you're in that group of whatever, and it goes back into that whole thing, like you said, of that the cultism that people will literally forget that even now, you see that religions have killed and persecuted and enslaved and maimed and tortured and literally used their ideology as a controlling mechanism to not only dominate, enslave, engineer, and push propagandist ideologies for centuries, and then sit back and go, well, it's all in the name of God. And it's like, do people like not understand? Like, like you're literally following this mess, but you're doing it so blindly that you forget what you're following and not
yeah. I
looking
mean,
at it, questioning it.
brother, when I'm talking, when I'm doing my podcast, I'm an abolitionist. Um, I don't. I think government are horrible, horrible slavery
Yeah.
machines. And when I'm explaining my things to people, I'm not using the term anarchy or
Right.
abolitionism. But when I bring the word afterward, when people are like, "Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with you," and things like that, everything should be voluntary and consent and things like that. Freedom is freedom is an idea,
Yeah. It is.
and because we don't really know the state of freedom. actually. So we never seen that from, in my at my opinion, I've never seen freedom as authentic, genuine freedom.
Right.
And I think spirituality is one of the key of it. And spirituality and religion are two different things. And
Oh,
yeah, I want to impress that, because sometimes it get messed up, and people it's becoming foggy between the two from
yeah.
time to so I try to remember people, to look at things objectively, like I was saying.
Yeah, and to do the research and to gain the understanding and the knowledge to understand the difference between the two, um, is really hard for a lot of people to separate that because, again, like I said, I can have deep conversations with people, but they are so blind. They don't want to hear what I have to say because they're so caught up in the religious aspect of it that the spirituality, the spiritualism of it is either the way that they're saying, like we were talking about, if you do this, you're doing it right, you're going to enter into the kingdom of heaven, or if you don't, you're going to burn in a lake of fire. And I keep telling people, how does that even fit into, if you're trying to free somebody spiritually, wouldn't it be like awakening somebody and understanding that if they do something wrong, it's wrong? Yes, they need to learn and grow from it, but that's an individualistic thing where that person karmically is going to have to pay for that individually, because those choices that they make is what is going to ultimately decide whether or not they have to progress or have to redo this again and not be able to finish their life contract, as like so many people like Manly P. Hall or Dolores Cannon have done their regressive hypnotherapy and talked to people about a lot of this stuff that um, you know they need to see the difference, that, like we said, people like Joshua who came to set people's minds free and get into that awakening and that understanding and that elevation spiritually by telling people the message, the true nature of his message, and not just him. So many others that came before and after him are trying to wake people up and say, hey, look, you guys are blindly following this mess and you're just doing the same mess that was being done historically, and you're sitting here waiting for something to happen instead of taking action and taking responsibility for the actions and the things that you do, that you're missing the doorway. Like, you're walking right by it and you're wanting it, but you keep going right by it.
Yeah, sorry, I was away a little bit.
You're
Yeah,
good.
I missed Ellie. Uh,
Yeah,
I
yeah, I know. She got on. I don't know, Ellie, are you gonna jump in on this, or?
I mean, when it comes to understanding of what this validation aspect, because this is what most people will do when they're uh, do a conversion into a religion, is the validation. They want to be validated by a group, or some people, you know in order to make sense to their life.
Yeah.
Religion has been a how you call that? Oh my god, I always forget the name of. I mean, this is a somewhere when the people are depressed or down or things like that. They're searching an anchor,
Right.
uh, to
When a
grab
person,
on, and they will, most of the time, these people will be really easily influenced,
yeah,
and
easily
yeah, this is a thirst of knowledge. They want to know, the mysteries and things like that. So, like New Age,
yeah,
New Ageism, as such, are very dangerous, because the knowledge as such is not a bad one. The knowledge is good, but
Yep.
this is the way they're twisting it, and this is how it works in religion. Generally, some denomination will twist the words in some places, and they're gonna uh, stumble upon a few words, and they're gonna stick on them, without really explaining why they're doing it, or why they're ignorant some part of other uh, uh, you know uh, theological documents,
Hmm.
things like that. Yeah.
Yep.
What I want to bring is why they searching validation is that most of the time people will search for a daddy or mommy figure to grab, and to hold on. And this
Yeah.
is where you have the father figure, and then you have Mary, and they have the children. So you have the Trinity there. So the three, no, the number three is everywhere in every religion. As such as Freemasonry and Christianity, and um, how do you call that? Islam and things like that. So the
Yeah.
number three is everywhere.
Yep.
And the Trinity is so powerful. The triangle is a powerful form. Because people recognize it. Naturally.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Um, Again, like you were saying, and we were talking about earlier, that people are looking for that outside savior, for somebody to, you know, one of the things that was really crazy growing up, and I noticed it, was you would listen to people and they would say things like with their problems or issues or things or their wants. Well, pray to God and he'll bless you with it. If you bring it to God, God will bless you and he'll bring it for, if it's meant to be, God will make it happen. And it's like, well, why can't I just go out and push to strive to make this shit happen myself? And it's like taking the power out of the people to see that they are capable of doing these things. Yes, I'm not saying that, you can't have anything to lean on or to progress on. But again, like we were talking about, it takes that power away from people to put it into the hands of somebody or something else, or into these religious um, perceptions, and to saying that, we have to struggle through life and wait for something to save us or to bring change in order for that to happen, when in actuality it is us who make things happen through our belief and understanding and our faith, that yes, through the strength of God that we are given, that we can progress and make these things happen.
Hey, Haley, how you doing?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
I wanted to say that I have read The End of All Evil, and it is a
Yeah.
great book. It's simple
Yeah.
to read, and it's the simple truth.
Sweet. Yeah, I posted the
Um,
link on Facebook, and I couldn't tag you in it, Fred, because I don't think we're following each other on Facebook. But I did post it on Facebook, so anybody that heard us on the conversation, I did post it on there, and I actually put a link on there to Amazon.
Yeah. Actually, you can. My name is just there. Just put that into Facebook and find me. It's really easy.
Okay. Yeah, we'll find each other and add each other.
Yeah. So when it comes to religions, I want to bring people back to why psychology is becoming more prevalent, and there's so many buzzwords outside, and people are using words that they don't understand,
Right.
and this is why psychology is there. Psychology is knowing the how the psyche of people is working. So we have a lot of baggage as human. Some people have less baggage than us, when it comes to traumas and things like that. So people are clinging to everything they can find, where
Right.
they can find comfort and security.
Yeah.
um so it's good, and it saves life, and I have some respect for it. But I'm more of a behavioral, psychological researcher than religion as such, because I know they're intimately connected together, and some work into psychology can be discovered by the
Yeah.
mean of religion when when it look objectively. Like I repeat a lot this word because it's very important.
Oh yeah, for sure. I totally
I think
agree with you, man.
I think that also studying natural law makes it so that you're able to see through a lot of the fluff, and it's harder to be deceived.
Yeah, natural law is powerful. For the people who can see, the people who can understand, definitely natural law is a must for everyone. And let me say, let me say to you, Ellie, how serious I take this. I started to read The End of All Evil, the French version, to my children, to my girl, and I wanted to really make her understand things, because children are very smart. You know, they understand things when you explain to them. You know, and the way that I show them is by example. You know, selflessness, empathy, respect, and love and care and things like that. So, I mean, most people will look for these things that I just mentioned, you know, and some people will get it by putting themselves into devices that are made to bring more social cohesion with a pinch of spirituality and a all mythological aspect that that when you look at these things, you look at the symbolism and you look at what it says. There's underlines an understanding that can be achieved by looking to the theological documents, and I think it explained a lot into what we're dealing with into society. So the belief system, the belief, this machine that they're using is like I mentioned, total mind control at this time. You know, it's not the intention behind is dark. The deeds are dark, and it's supported by good people, good hearted people, and they're the worst of them. They're making it hell for them and for the people, you know, by sequestering and threatening and belittling people and gaslighting and things like that. That these aspects cannot be ignored. And I mean, it's not only in religion; it's in familial aspect, is in the work, uh, uh, the workplace, and the relation you have with your friends and your folks out there. So why I bring psychology is because I've been myself an advocate for shadow working for a long time, and I think the cleaning must begin into your own temple. You're not doing your cleaning, your healing by searching for something, a validation from the external world. It doesn't work that way. Shadow working is deep introspection, and it's looking into the dark corners of your own psyche.
And
And
taking responsibility for it, accountability.
exactly, accountability for what you did and what you're doing, and the words that you're using, that whether you're into a religion or not, it doesn't matter. This is the principle of cause and effect. This is natural law. You
Right.
know,
And this
you're
is where
doing
religion
something.
falls
Yeah, you're
short.
doing something, there's consequences, and if you're not doing something, there's consequences.
Yeah. And there's evidence of it. Um,
Have you caught off, man?
I'm here.
Yeah, you disappeared for a moment there.
Yeah, I had to get my daughter. She was eating, so I was I had to get her off.
Okay, I understand that, man. I understand that. Yeah, I took the lead there. I cannot fucking stop talking.
No, man, go for it.
Yeah, I usually do it alone on the Libercast, and I'm lasting an hour and a half, and I
Oh,
have
yeah.
to stop and look at the time, and oh my fucking god, it's going so fast.
For
So
sure.
much stuff to talk about.
Oh, yeah. It's like
I love
And
that we're
you can't put the time into like a box. Like it goes and it goes and it goes, and then when you're like, all right, what else do we got to put in on this? You know what I mean? Like then you got to start wrapping it up and shutting it down because you're like, oh crap, it's 10 o'clock at night.
well, it shows you how much you care.
Yeah, I mean, the passion that we have to put the things that we talk about and get the information out there. It's something that a lot of people don't understand, and Ellie knows this because we were talking about this a lot, is that you have the people who are of the same vibrational frequency and elevation that we understand, and we can talk to each other about a lot of things and get on that level and that wavelength, whereas you have people that can't talk to you about a lot of things and discuss with you about things. And it's easier when you're able to talk to like-minded people and have good discussions, because it carries on to the fact that we're able to feed off of each other and discuss with each other about a lot of things and get the information between each other.
So 3 out of 10 of us did not take the COVID vaccine, but we were all so scared to talk to anybody that we didn't know that 3 out of 10 of our neighbors did not take the COVID vaccine, and we could
Yep.
have talked to them. I think that it's really important what we're doing, and I've been telling people that when we stop talking, and you'll see this throughout history, when they stop talking to each other, that's the beginning of the end.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And again,
Absolutely.
how do you feel about that, Fred? Like how we were talking, that implements into the whole deception thing and the mind control thing, is that putting that fear base on people to be able to say, if you shut up and just go with the system and stop questioning things. And it's a fear base too that people feed into that. And when you stop kicking against the system and you just go with what everybody else is doing, then we lose what we are trying to be as a society and humanity. We lose our part of our humanity to that, that emptiness, that cult, like these deities, these controllers who want that.
I sorry, it cut a little bit. I don't know if you can hear me fine.
Yeah, I gotcha.
The connection is back. I don't know if it's me, but it's fucking messy there.
Okay.
Yeah. So can you repeat me? Just the last part there.
No, I was
Sorry.
saying how Ellie was saying that, us not talking and not discussing things, or being so afraid to verbally express ourselves or to say things that we know is going to be against the norm because of the kickback that we get from other people, is that goes back into the whole thing of the control and the manipulation by these deities and these beings, or these cults that are in control right now, that they don't want a free-minded person to expand humanity. If we could just, they just want compliancy. They just want people to just go and do what they're being told and stop kicking against the system. Do you see that as another form of the control and the manipulation of the masses, not just with the religion, but with just humanity in of itself, the compliance and the manipulation?
Sorry, everyone.
So sorry about that. let me tell you a bit.
Yeah, for sure, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, so since I'm young, I'm um conscious, seemingly conscious person. I saw really soon in life the injustices and all the evil, but I couldn't understand it really well. But when I was growing up and things like that, I've seen the deceptions and why it's so hard to have cohesion between people and having a mutual understandings about common sense knowledge that we shouldn't put aside, like morality, and what is the difference between right and wrong that it's so exploited into religion as a whole. It's always a war between good and evil, and
Right.
this part there is really ingrained into culture in every aspect of it. But one of the things that I want to bring up in relation to that is that we love heroes, heroes that they
We
fail and they're going underground and they're rising up again and fighting against, because these are models, that we're using, centuries. The solar hero and things
Yep.
like that. But people like them very much. They identify. Oh, I it's a model for me. But essentially, we are doing the complete inversion of everything. This is cognitive dissonance.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with you, man. And that again, it goes into that whole thing, like we've been saying, is that we either rise to the occasion or we fall to just allow things to just happen. And we either are going to stand for what we believe in and what we care about, or we just allow our children and our future generations to be subjected to the same old crap that is just going to keep happening over and over and over again. Like we were saying, it's that circle. We need to break this chain. We need to keep this revolution, evolutionary mindset of elevating ourselves, not just for humanity, but for the sake of our generations, our children, to say that, hey, you do not have to comply with this crap that is happening or that is going on. And then when people tell you these things, they will know for themselves what the difference is, right and wrong, what to do, what not to do, and to not just sit there and be a compliant, you know, citizen or person of the world, but to better themselves and to keep that going, so that way humanity can progress. That's what I think the whole thing of it is that we need to progress as a society as a whole in order for us to make any sort of change. It's got to change. I mean, fuck, if
I
we
mean,
keep
I mean,
we're just gonna keep doing the loop thing.
without inner work, what you're telling. It's impossible.
Right.
Without people like doing the cleaning in their own temple, like I was mentioning earlier, it's impossible.
Yep.
Because people are broken inside.
Yeah.
They're confused and they're living in fear of everything.
Billions of dollars of propaganda on the television and everywhere they go. And we're fighting fluoride and everything else, calcium to
Religion.
pineal glands.
Yep.
And 5G.
Yep. And that goes into the whole thing too of the knowledge and understanding is the information and building a knowledge base of understanding what is either hurting us and hindering us, or what is going to progress us. And if people don't wake up to the understanding that there is something better, there is a better way of doing this, there is a way to break free of it, but it's like you said, Fred, it comes internally. It's got to be something that people individually have to make happen. I can't tell you, hey, you got to do this, hey, do this stuff, and it's going to change you. You as an individual, we as individuals have to make this happen. We have to make it work. But as a collective, it becomes a mass transformation universally, as a whole, as a collective. And I think if people would just understand that fighting against each other and understanding that collectively together, the change and the transformation that can happen, and not wait for an outside entity or deity or savior to do this, we can do it as a collective.
In the aggregate. So it always starts with the individual, and like you said, when enough of us get to a tipping point in the aggregate, then we'll start to actually see a change in the world. Because you can't just raise yourself in consciousness and not do something about it. Part of being conscious and aware is action.
Yep.
That's why we need to talk to each other and
have discussions.
I mean, just working on the same page, or sharing, at least being okay with one thing would be great. You know, what is freedom? What is mind control? What is natural law? What is understanding? How, as human, how should we think? There's a way to think. There's a process to assimilate the information and being really in tune with your inner truth and the truth about the world that you're living in, because truth is an important aspect of it, and it must not be a thing of a transcendent understanding about life. Truth is really simple to understand because we have it in our faces. We have it every day that we wake up. You know, we have the blessing of waking up another day and enjoying life as a beautiful experience. Even when you have children and when you have family or people you care about, this is life. This is how people call God. This is, we are them and they are us. There's no separation between them and us as a human. We shouldn't see one of the problems that was mentioning earlier is polarization. Polarization is a heavy factor into the destruction of the cohesion between people, and the consequence of just not being in tune with your neighbors and the little community that you share with, you know. And we forgot about autonomy, we forgot about sovereignty, we forgot about all the secrets that nature and all the gifts that nature is giving to us. And nature is us, we are nature, and nature is us. There's no separation. It's not a coincidence that people who are living in the big cities, when they're taking holidays, they're going into the woods. They're going where nature is, because this is where we belong. And we're taking it as granted. We're destroying it, and we're treating nature badly. And this is a reflection of what we are inside: chaotic and confused and dreadful, full of dread and insecurities and things like that. But essentially, we one of the problem of humans of this age is why can't make it simple when it can be complicated? Simple things like how you act with other people. What is the relation that you have with yourself and the world? How you see yourself is a reflection of who you are in front of people. So if you're treating yourself badly and you're talking to yourself, you're always bringing you doubt because of fear of taking action or making changes that that can totally bring you into another understanding and another perception of what is and is. Yes, they're bad, yes, they're good, but doesn't mean that we need to tolerate the intolerable and the evil deeds that we're seeing around us. Doesn't mean that we have to leave our responsibility to corporative hegemonies or government or religions or cults, because religion starts inside. The real religion is love and care, because nature is love and care. Nature takes care of us.
I love it, man. I love the message and the in-depthness, because that in of itself is something. It may not seem like it is a simple notion, but it is. If we would just understand that humanity caring for each other and trying to do something to better each other, without the division and the segregation and the separation of looking at somebody and saying, well, because of this you're different than I am, or because of the things that you do you're different and you shouldn't have any part of what I have to say or what I have in my life, or I don't want to associate myself with you. Again, I think that goes into the deception and the control and the manipulation by these deities and these beings that are in power to deceive humanity, to keep us from elevating and getting to that point. And I mean, it's one of those things where it starts now. It starts with conversations like this. It starts with discussions like this. It starts with the information like this and the spreading and the discussions of other people who are listening to this message. That, like you said, the religion is not what we think it is. It's with the individual, with the understanding of self, the Gnosis, the knowing yourself and progressing yourself. And until we can do that, then we can start collectively, changing and making the differences that we need to see, that need to happen outwardly in society. We can nitpick and bitch about everything that's going on in the world, but if we're not going to change who we are individually and make those changes and make the actions rather than just talking about it, it's never going to happen. But yeah, man, I love that what you just said right there. That was great.
It starts with the individual, and when the individual learns about freedom and natural law, then the individual acts on it. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, let's be real about it. I appreciate and I want to thank you, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I appreciate
I appreciate this conversation. Thank you so much, man.
No, it was great, man. I'm glad that you came on, and I'm glad that we were able to have a great discussion and have an open topic about about this whole thing, because it basically came full circle to what we've been wanting to talk about, you know, as far as humanity and the understanding and the gaining of the knowledge to be able to progress us not only individually but as a society and as humanity, because when people have good conversations like us, and we can have discussions and talk about things, the knowledge that is being, it's like I said earlier with the words of Thoth, when he says that those who, we're all light bringers, we all have that inherent light inside of us. We either choose to illuminate, or we just allow our light to be consumed by the darkness. And if we don't illuminate others and bring out that light in others by planting that knowledge and sharing that knowledge, then we're defeating the purpose of us being here. We're not doing what we were meant to do, which is to share and illuminate this world with the knowledge and the information that is there.
Yeah, because we refuse to grow.
Yeah.
It's simple as that. I mean, because we've been taken care of for so many years.
Oh yeah.
Hundreds of these centuries. And when I'm talking about, being taken care of, I'm talking about like overt slavery and violence and submission and threat and coercion and things like that. It's not there's not only bad things.
Yep.
And this is where we have to put our energy in.
Yeah.
Education for the young, a better education, a conscious based on nonviolence and the golden rule and things like that. So it doesn't mean that if you you cannot defend yourself. It's not what it means. It means that if you don't have the right to do harm, but it's your responsibility and it's your duty to protect yourself against the violence that is done onto you and onto your family and the people around you. So this is the responsibility there. This is the part where religions are looking away.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. And I hope we can keep talking about this weekly, because I wanted to bring up that I think a really important video these days is Two Masks, Same Face from Passio. But only if you watch it till the very end. If you fall asleep at the end, you're not going to get it.
You're going to miss it.
Yeah. I'm going to hop off, and hopefully, you can get some more people on, and I'll keep listening.
Yeah. Thank you, Ollie. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you both, you guys.
Alrighty.
All right.
Take care. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I mean, these are the kind of conversation that I consider useful, and I think even if I don't have much follower and people who are listening to my stuff, but I don't do it because I value the attention of others. I'm doing it because this is the right thing to do.
Exactly.
This is how I see my work, and I think I mean sometimes people need to be shaken out of their ignorance.
Right.
And sometimes we have to need to be more harsh and bold when it comes to the well-being and about caring about the others and what it means to be a responsible adult in this world.
Yeah, man, I totally agree with what you just said right there. Is that we bring this message and we bring this information with a sense of understanding and caring, and we do it with love, but we do it because it needs to happen. It's something that must happen in order for the change to come. And it's not like I'm telling people, or the message is that, you know damn you if you don't do this, because if you don't do this, this is what's going to happen to you. It's more like of a thing of, hey brother, hey sister, you guys got to wake up and understand that, you know the change needs to happen, and we want you to see the greatness and the betterness that you're capable of doing, and that you are better than what these people and these entities, or these cults are trying to tell you that you are. There's so much more to you. There's so much more to humanity, that they have literally deceived people for so long, that people are just they're swallowing it up. They're literally becoming the slaves to the things that they think are trying to save them.
Yeah, we need to get back to the roots.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we were talking about the religion, old ways.
Yeah.
But it wasn't all bad,
Yeah.
Now we have people who are confused about everything, and it's scary, brother.
Yeah.
When you have people that confused, and they're it's chaotic, man. It's chaotic.
Yeah.
You get. I mean, I work into a community center, actually. So I'm working with people with different conditions and situation in their life. So I can see the suffering. I can see what the consequences of their choices and things like that, and we have to greet them as brothers and sisters, even though they made their wrong decision at our opinions. It's I mean some people will need more than just encouragement or things like that. There's and this is what we have to put our energy in self-empathy. And then when you can actually love yourself truly, this is when you're gonna be able to do something, really do something, because you're gonna be able to project this love, this empathy to other people, and it's life changing. Sometimes you're crossing the path of other people, and there's no coincidence there. We have something to learn from these relationships, even if you see them only one time. You see strangers, and you're talking with them, and you're learning something always. There's always something to learn.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, really. Communication, man. It's the key to everything. This is how wars were started. This is how civilization were created, with the power of the words.
Yep.
So if we can create with words, we can easily destroy with words.
Yeah.
And in the Bible, when God created the universe, He spelled it through the words. So this is an important aspect.
Yeah.
And how do you talk? How do you communicate with people? Because it's going to be a reflection. It's a projection. This is the psychological wording there. When we're talking with people, when we have a interpersonal conversation, we are projecting ourselves into the others. But this is where our power resides, is how do you react to what is happening to you. This is your own. This is where free will resides, is how will you react, because there's things that you're gonna not be able to stop, or avoid. How do you react to it? This is the same thing with your wife, with your loved one, with the strangers, with your friends, and the people that you only see on the internet. This is a reflection. This is the principle of correspondence. From the natural law. Yes.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. It's good. it's good we had this conversation and
Yeah.
we were able to do this. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up. It's 8 o'clock. Fred, I just want to say, man, I appreciate you, brother. It's been really, really, really good, um, really insightful, and it really resonated really deep within me, man, to have this conversation and the stuff that we were talking about. And I really appreciate you, bro, for being here.
It's the same for me, man. Thank you so much for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to definitely do this again, man. Keep in touch with me, and definitely do me a favor and send me the link to your podcast, and I'll put that word out there. And
I'm gonna send it you via the YouTube comments if you don't mind.
Yeah, no,
But
please do it.
Just because I want to add you on Facebook, but just use the name that it's there. Come find me there, and it's gonna be easier for me to communicate with you. I have Telegram if you don't if you have it, you know. Yeah, I have a few different device for communication, so no problem.
Yeah, if you got the links for your stuff, man, go ahead and throw it in the comments so that way everybody can see it, and then I'll go ahead and add you on everything too as well.
Perfect. I'm gonna do it right now. So thank you again, man. Have a good evening.
Thank you too, man. You too.
Bye.
All right, man. Cool. That was great. This was a great episode. I love this. This is so cool. This is why I love doing the things that doing the discussions that I do on here, is because you get so much insight, so much knowledge, and so much information, and to be able to discuss this subject matter with other people who are like-minded, and to be able to feed off of them and understand things, and get the insight to what they're sharing and bringing to the table. It's phenomenal. It's great. And I'm glad that everybody who was able to join in, thank you guys so much for being here. And thank you guys so much for the support. If once Fred gets his stuff and he puts it into the comments, make sure that you go and follow his stuff and get some insight and some knowledge on the things and the messages that he's bringing to the table, because it's really good. It's really good stuff. And again, I just want everybody to understand that what we are trying to do is not trying to tell everybody that you're wrong. We're not trying to sit there and tell everybody that, what you're doing is the wrong thing. What we want everybody to understand is this: question everything. Look inside of what you are doing. Understand what is really happening with the information and the non-understand and the text, and what it is doing to you as a person. Yes, as I said before, I grew up in that mentality, religious wise. It did something for me as far as bringing that capability of questioning and understanding and the knowledge base that I have now. It led me to this place. But because of my questioning and researching and seeking the knowledge and the information, it has led to the broader scope of me realizing and understanding that there is so much more to the picture, that it was not just this box that they put me in. Please, please, if you do anything, do not keep yourself in the box. Do not just sit there and just take what they're telling you and shut everything out. Realize that there is something that is more to the story, that everything that is happening within these systems, these structures, is not what we thought it was. It's not. It is literally a cult mindset that has gone to the point of manipulating and deceiving the masses and driving us further away from the true nature, meaning, and understanding of who and what we are and why we are here, and what that message was. Just like Fred said earlier, right before we got off, the key is love. And so many messengers came through and said that same thing. Which of these commandments was the greatest of all? Love. Love can mean so many different things to so many other people. Fred, I thank you so much, everybody. He put the link into his YouTube. Go ahead and click on that, follow it, share it, put it in the links out there and get the message out. And let's show our brother some love. But remember, always remember that we are the light bringers. If we choose not to carry this information and share this knowledge and information with the masses, we are no better than the people who are just trying to shut it out and keep this world in the darkness. So thank you guys all for being here. I love you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all for being here. And remember, always question everything. Seek the knowledge, seek the understanding, and always become a seeker of the unknown. So thank you guys. Have a great, safe weekend, and I'll see you guys next week. Much love.